What's going on, everybody? I hope you're enjoying your Hump Day Wednesday morning so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to talk about the news that literally just broke this morning about New York Giants running back Saquon Barkley and the fact that he is not planning on signing his franchise tag before offseason workouts begin this week on April 17th. Why is everybody getting panicked about this? Why would fans get panicked about this? This is what I'm going to have to say about it. If you're Saquon Barkley, would you sign the franchise tag right now? Would you jeopardize going out there in an off-season workout when you're trying to get some money, trying to work out a long-term deal? And would you jeopardize yourself in off-season workouts and get hurt? That's one thing. Number two, it's negotiation tactics. Saquon Barkley doesn't want to sign that franchise tag right now because he knows for a fact he's trying to get himself at least 12, 13 million per season, maybe even 14 mil. That's what he believes where his value is. That's where he's believed his value was from the entire time. But right now, Joe Schoen and Brandon Brown and Joe Schoen have pulled that contract off the table when they originally were offering Saquon Barkley 12 million per season. And Saquon Barkley wanted about 14 to 16 mil. Joe Schoen pulled that contract, and right now, if he signs the franchise tag, it'd only pay him 10 million per season. You look at some of the contracts that have been signed so far this offseason, the running back position. Miles Sanders only signed for about 8 million per season, 8-9 mil. Josh Jacobs and Tony Pollard are still on the franchise tag. Kareem Hunt can't even get a deal right now. And these are all the top running backs that were coming out of this NFL free agency. All of them. The only one that has gotten paid long term has been Miles Sanders, who only got paid 8 to 9 million per season, while the other running backs have all been franchise tag, and another one of the prominent guys, who the Browns believe has lost a step, but I don't know if he has lost a step, is still on the market. It's the value of the running back position. No matter what you think, no matter what you want to say, nobody values the running back position right now in today's NFL. They are about spread offenses. They are about, you can find a running back in free agency. If you put them in the right system and you have a good offensive line, you can get the most out of them. You could go into the NFL draft and you could find yourself a running back in the mid rounds or even somewhere in the closer, like second round or something. That's the problem. That's the problem I see for Saquon Barkley, for why he is not getting the type of deal he's looking for, and why I do not blame him for holding out right now in off-season workouts. This is not minicamp. This is not OTAs. This is not training camp. This is not preseason. This is the norm when you have contract negotiations between a star player and a Giants organization or any organization. You're going to have players, even somebody who loves the Giants like Saquon Barkley, sit out because it's the best thing for them to do when you're trying to negotiate a long-term deal. Because what happens if Saquon Barkley, God forbid, he goes into these offseason workouts, just hypothetically, and he goes out there and hurts himself, pulls a leg, injures his arm, fractures something, he's out for a good amount of time. You know what Joe Schoen could do? He could pull that contract right off of it, and it's going to end up hurting Saquon Barkley's value in terms of what he could potentially get paid in a long-term contract with the Giants. This is not that big of a concern. This is not something where Giants fans need to start going crazy because of the fact that Saquon is not attending off-season workouts in April. It's April. This is not the middle of training camp right before you get to the beginning of the season. This is April. There is plenty of time. You have until July, the middle of July, to work out a long-term deal with Saquon Barkley. That gives you about 3 months from now. Plenty of time for both Barkley and the Giants to get back to the negotiation table and work out a long-term deal. This is not a concern at all. And it should not even be a concern. Would you like to see Saquon Barkley get some workouts with the team? Absolutely. Who wouldn't? Who would not want to see Saquon Barkley out there working out with his teammates during these off-season workouts? Of course. But for anybody that's going to be concerned about this, it's not really that big of a deal. This is the norm. This happens all the time with top players and the organizations trying to work out a long-term deal. This is nothing out of the ordinary. This is nothing surprising. This is the norm. And honestly, I don't blame Saquon, and I don't blame the Giants organization for going the route that they're going right now. I don't. This is par for the course. Saquon Barkley wants to get paid. The Giants and Joe Schoen are evaluating what they believe Saquon is worth. You're talking about off-season workouts. They're not even mandatory. That's another thing. These are not mandatory workouts. Saquon doesn't have to be there. While it might be a good thing in terms of team morale, Saquon Barkley does not need to be there. So people, don't start panicking because Saquon Barkley will not sign the franchise tag in April and he's missing an off-season workout. Let's just come back to reality a little bit. How many players have we seen do this over the years? How many times did Michael Strahan do this? Or other top players? O.C. Umenyiora did it many years ago. Because these players don't want to go out there and risk the chance of getting hurt, and they want to make sure that they get equal or fair value. This is not the first time a New York Giants player is going to hold out in off-season workouts. This has happened before. And you need to do what's best. Saquon needs to do what's best for Saquon. As much as we love Saquon Barkley, Saquon needs to do what's best for Saquon. And that's all that matters. And if he believes, which we know he does, that he thinks his value is a lot more than what the Giants are willing to give him, I do not blame him for not wanting to risk himself and go out there and God forbid he gets hurt. So I think that Saquon Barkley, call me crazy, I think Saquon Barkley is doing the right thing. Call me crazy. That's what I think. I think Saquon Barkley is doing the right thing for himself. And honestly, the Giants, I don't blame them either. It's just, this is unfortunately the running back market. It's just the running back market and what teams value the running back position. I hate to say it, but because of the fact that the other top running backs are either getting paid way less than expected or they're still on the franchise tag, just shows you the value that the running back position has in terms of the long-term view and money-wise in the NFL. It's one of the most devalued positions in the NFL. You could have a great running back, but there's also times where you could just go right into the NFL draft or find yourself a running back that if you put him in the right system, you can get the most out of him, and it's happened many, many, many times in the NFL. So I do not blame Saquon Barkley sitting out these offseason workouts. Talk to us what happens when we get to OTAs and minicamp and things start becoming mandatory. And if Saquon's still sitting out, maybe, slightly maybe, you get a heightened, warning that Saquon needs to get paid. But right now, it's not a concern. Not worried about it. Saquon is doing what's best right now for Saquon, and his agent, same thing. Let the process play out. Like you mentioned with Daniel Jones, let the process play out with Saquon, and either they're going to have to come to some type of resolution on a long-term deal, or then Saquon's got to decide, am I going to sit out and risk missing an entire season or some time, or am I going to go out there, play on the franchise tag, take a chance on myself, and if I end up staying healthy and playing well, I can get myself a big contract. But this is not that big of a deal. This is the norm. You see it all over the place. I would not be shocked if Josh Jacobs and Tony Pollard do the same thing with Dallas and Las Vegas. These running backs want to get paid, but you just look at the running back market. Besides Christian McCaffrey and Ezekiel Elliott, These running backs are not getting paid a whole boatload of money. They're not. They're just not doing it. That's just what the NFL market is dictating. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm curious to see how this process is going to play out from now until we get to the franchise tag deadline to sign your deal in July. If Saquon Barkley is still not signed that deal, and the Giants and him are nowhere close to a deal, by the time we get to July, then maybe it becomes a problem because you're bleeding into training camp and preseason. But right now, it's no concern. Just let the process play out. Let the Giants and Saquon try to negotiate some more. They'll get closer. Hopefully, by the time we get to July, August, around training camp and preseason, and as we get closer to the beginning of the regular season. But this is nothing out of the ordinary. This is nothing that we haven't seen before. Let the process play out, everybody. Just want to talk about that real quickly, about the news that just broke this morning, about Saquon Barkley not attending off-season workouts, and the fact he's not willing to sign the New York Giants NFL franchise tag. And we'll have to wait and see how this process plays out as we get into the late spring and early summer months. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and give a sub to NYGJeffyT85 for more news updates and chatter surrounding the New York Giants. Turn on the bell for negotiations on the next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Giants. And let me know in the comment section what you think about the news dropping about Saquon Barkley not willing to sign the franchise tag from the New York Giants, and how this process is going to play out this offseason with Saquon Barkley and the New York Giants as we get into the spring and summer months and get closer to training camp and the preseason in August. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Remember, Wednesday, Hump Day Wednesday. I got the days mixed up. Let the process play out, and let's see what happens. And let's go, New York Football Giants, as always. Together blue, everyone.